everybody. It's Chloe Baggins.
And I am Bushido.
Bushido?
Yes, Bushido. And that's Mr. Bushido to all of you.
Out of my face.
And welcome back.
Welcome back, Jazz
And
hands.
this is...
Shh. The quiet place.
That's pretty good. We're actually about to head out to see the second one. So we thought because our YouTube channel is still a baby channel, it'd be like the perfect time to do a review of the first one, which we had just watched earlier. So we thought it'd be cool to like marathon the first one and go to the second one, because the first one was such a breath of fresh air for horror movies, especially for people who love horror movies.
I held my breath through the whole first
Yeah, man, like this movie, like you gotta be in shape. Right? You gotta be in shape to see this. You gotta have a good heart. You
and
know
good
what I mean?
lungs.
Good heart, good lungs, because if not, man, you're gonna stress yourself out to a conniption fit.
So,
this movie's nuts.
It is. I remember the first time we saw this movie was in the actual theater. And it was so quiet. I could hear everyone crunching their popcorn. It was so obnoxious. It was annoying. But
I would hold my breath. Like when the tension would rise, I would be holding my breath because it's so quiet. Normally people are reacting, having a good time to what's going on in the movie. This time everyone was so serious.
And this guy's
so
loud in scary movies.
I'm one of those guys.
He's one of those guys.
What's really cool is that the movie starts off, shit has already gone down. The world has officially come to an end.
Kinda.
You know?
There's still life out there.
I mean, there's life out there, but life is not... I mean, could you imagine? Like, people had a hard time wearing masks. Could you imagine aliens, like these super predators who you can't make sound?
Well, survival
like
of the fittest.
You couldn't squeak a fart out in the apocalypse, man. Like, they will come kill your ass if you fart. That's how crazy the rules of this horror movie are. And that's what's really cool. It's a very simple rule for the universe. Don't make noise.
I think it's a brilliant, brilliant idea from John Krasinski.
Yeah, and you know, he's known for...
comedy.
Yeah.
The Office.
How cool that this goofy, you know, lovable guy in The Office...
has such an imagination.
Of a horror movie that hooks you in.
Not just once.
Clearly twice. We're about to find that out.
Yes.
But I think what I've said this before in some of our videos. What I think is really tricky about horror is not so much horror. Not so much falling into the tropes and the cliches and the jump scares, but it's hard to make a horror movie that's universally scary to everyone because everybody's scared of different things.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, like I'm not scared of like masked murderers and, you know, if they're running from people. But in this movie, you've got something that is so beyond your human capabilities, that you are at a disadvantage no matter what you do. And they're like original looking, kind of xenomorphy looking aliens.
Yeah.
That's the shit that I'm just like, oh my God, what would I do in this situation?
What would you do in that situation?
I don't know, because all my survival instincts of being able to defend myself don't work. You think about Ellen Ripley and the Marines and Aliens. They had firepower. They had ingenuity. They had to survive, you know, by the seat of their pants, but they can make noise.
Yeah.
Imagine having to do all that, but quietly.
Could you imagine running around barefoot? You don't even like to go around the house without slippers.
And that's what's really cool too, is that John Krasinski's character, the dad, you know, he's like gone into like Batman mode. He literally has like a bat cave in his basement under their house with all the TV screens, you know, the clues about the monsters and the aliens, and you know, kind of like the snippets from the outside world to give us, the audience, hints of what really went down beyond the scope of the family story. And the dad is so smart and so like, it makes you think, like, what did you do for a living when the world was still going on?
An engineer.
Like an engineer type of thing. I mean, he was designing his girl's, you know, makeshift MacGyver style hearing aid. So it's like, he must have been an engineer because everything is laid out so carefully. They got sand leading from their farm all the way to town.
I would have never thought of that.
Because just the crunch of a leaf
Or rocks.
Or rocks. Just, your normal walking. Even if you're trying to walk quiet.
So well planned. So well thought of.
Yeah. And, it's just like, wow. It was refreshing because you saw characters in a horror movie actually being intelligent as to how they approach their survivability against the monsters out there. They weren't making stupid decisions. And we got to give it up to another Ellen Ripley. That is the badass.
Emily Blunt.
Oh, man.
You badass bitch.
Man.
I love you.
I love badass women in movies. For those of you who have watched us, thank you, by the way. You know your boy Bushido loves strong-ass women in movies. And I call them, lovingly, Ellen Ripleys. Because Ellen Ripley is the progenitor. The queen of the Valkyries when it comes to badass women in movies.
I just hope she doesn't have the big old afro bush pubes like Ellen Ripley.
I hope she does.
Gross. You're nasty.
Well.
Stop it.
Anyway, Emily Blunt, man, you gotta give it up to this woman. Emily Blunt is badass. And before I go into her character, we gotta talk about the elephant in the room. The world came to an end because of these alpha predator aliens in which you cannot make sound. So why, in God's name, would you impregnate your wife to produce what is probably the noisiest creature on the face of the planet?
A baby. A human
Oh my
baby.
God. Why?
Why?
I mean, of course, it starts out, we see it in the trailer. The youngest son, he doesn't know, he's a little kid, he doesn't know any better, right?
He just wants to play.
He just wants to be a normal kid, play with a spaceship toy.
But that spaceship toy is his demise. And he gets snatched up like a little bag of chips.
And it's like, when we were watching it, I was like, imagine they didn't show that scene of him running after his son in the trailers and we just saw it raw. I feel like it would have hit even deeper because it shows you, man, everybody is fair game to these monsters. They're blind. They don't care. But in the narrative, anybody can die because the first person to get slaughtered is a little kid. And that was awesome.
That we see. It's not awesome.
It is awesome because normally, the kid survives, all this bullshit. It's like, no, this is a crazy ass world where
real.
Anybody can die.
Yeah, like reality,
Yeah. And so I'm assuming, and then they skip forward in time.
430
something days. And, badass Emily Blunt is pregnant. And you're like, I remember in the theater, I was like, why would you get pregnant? Like, I'm sure you're grieving. I can imagine. I don't have kids, but I'm like, the loss of a child is horrible. But this is the apocalypse where any noise, the monsters come for you.
Yeah. And a baby doesn't know.
The baby has no clue.
The baby has no clue.
Can barely see out of its eyes yet.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It cries because it's hungry. It's tired.
It's doing its baby thing.
Yeah, it's what it's naturally inclined to do.
But you got to give it to John Krasinski with the tension and the fear. And the poor little boy, the son, you could just tell he's just like, man, I am not built for this. I am not the hard-ass Rambo little son to go rushing off into battle. He's like, I don't want to go fishing. I want to stay here on the farm with my mom. You know what I mean? I don't want to go out there.
The little girl wanted to.
The little girl wanted to, the oldest daughter. And it's like, you feel bad for the kid. You're like, shit, if that was you, would you want to go fishing? You know what I mean?
I don't know what I would do. Would I starve? I don't know.
But at the same time, it's kind of like if you follow the rules of the movie, you're essentially safe, right?
Yeah.
But it's like the scene where Emily Blunt gets the nail shoved up her foot. You're just like, oh my God. Like, I feel like I'm going to die if I bump my shin on the corner of my bed frame. And it's just, walking. Imagine a nail up the middle of your foot and you got a
full speed. Like, she was just
walking down the stairs and boom. And she was just, man, could you imagine having to hold that in? Because if you scream or you react the natural way, you're going to die.
When her water breaks.
And we got to talk about the giving birth scene. I don't know. That's like a new echelon of Ellen Ripley. They're giving birth quietly.
With yourself?
By yourself,
yeah.
to yourself, with no drugs, no epidurals.
A blanket.
With an alien monster down the hallway.
Yep.
And you survive. That is a new level of badassery. Mm-hmm. Guys, we have a hard time with diarrhea cramps.
Or head colds.
Yep. Badass Emily Blunt delivered a baby by herself.
I mean,
while sticking to the rules of the world. Don't make any noise. I mean, provided they distracted the monsters, but still. Holy crap.
This
movie.
Right.
Any negatives you can think of?
I think there's a lot of questions, you know, for me, while I was watching it. Like, I get the old man loses his wife.
Right.
But why can he not wait until the dad?
Yeah, it's like he should have been like, go. Or like gesturing him to go,
yes,
right?
But he didn't have to scream while they were still there.
But it was a good scene, though.
It was a great scene.
It's like, oh, man. Like, you tell he gave up. He must have been the only reason why he was still, you know, fighting on in this horrible world. He's already an older man. His wife died, right?
Probably the last person he
That's
loved.
the only reason why he was still fighting. She's gone. He killed himself, right? Death by monster. They call them angels of death in the story.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, in the newspaper clippings and stuff, they dubbed them angels of death.
So,
and I think for me, a negative is, I think it's too short. I wish it would have been longer.
I think it was just long enough for the first time we watched it, because holy cow.
Yeah, man, I think, like I said,
my butt cheeks were clenched.
You gotta be in shape.
I did not breathe. My heart was racing, and I swear to God, my eyes were going to fall out of my skull because I didn't blink once. I was afraid of missing something. So
you gotta be in shape.
I felt like it was just long enough, you know, like
right.
If they would have kept going, then they would have ended up into a second movie. And then that totally defeats the purpose of what we're about to go see today.
Yeah, I wish they showed more of the monsters, because I love that stuff. That's just me. I love, like, because of Alien and Aliens and H.R. Giger's work and Badass Sigourney Weaver. I love those original takes on monsters, creatures, aliens. I wish they had shown more, but I think that adds more to the fear factor of them, is because the whole world didn't know what the hell to do. You know, could you imagine all the experts of the world not knowing how to take out these aliens? But this deaf little girl with her,
well, she figured it out.
Figured it out, you know, on accident, because of the high pitched squeal in her MacGyver hearing aid into the speaker.
Yep.
And it exposed the aliens, like, underneath the armor. And then you badass Emily Blunt with a shotgun. Boom.
Boom.
And you got to realize this woman just gave birth.
Same day.
The same, like, hours before, and she's already, like, shooting down aliens. What a badass.
Is that realistic? I don't know.
It is a movie about aliens, so
but physically, most women cannot move after giving birth.
Yeah, so it's like, you imagine that maternal survival instinct just kick in, and you're just running off adrenaline. You know, you could see it on Emily Blunt's face. She's like, my babies are not dying. No. I'm going to take them all out. But the one negative I have is John Krasinski's death.
You didn't think he had to die?
I don't think he had to die, because the reason, I'll explain you why. He was so careful and so methodical and so planned out. It's like he had a contingency plan for anything that could go wrong. Yeah. And granted, he got wounded by one of the aliens. But it's like, I feel like he had like an axe or like a pickaxe in his hand. I feel like he could have thrown it against the metal shed or whatever that was next to him, and the alien would have gone after the thing. He could have, like, jumped in the truck, and they could have just gone down the hill. So that's why I'm like, I feel like he shouldn't have died. Like, it was kind of
too heartbreaking.
Yeah, it's like, I feel like because his character was so smart and so careful, that it would just make sense that he would have had a plan B in the worst case scenario.
And that was the worst.
And that was a worst case. The kids were trapped in the truck, the aliens on top. And if he didn't have any, if he was in a field, I get it. But he had a
also,
thing
too,
in his
at
hand.
the same time, it's hard to say what would you do if you were in that
In
situation.
the heat of the moment.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah.
You know, I can't really fault that too much.
But the thing is, you say that, but he had time to sign, you know, I love you to his son. I always loved you to his daughter.
Then it makes it, I mean...
I know it's dramatic,
Yes.
death, you know, you're a martyr for your family. I get it, but it's just, his character was so smart. You know, like they survive. I feel like they, you know, the whole bat cave with the screens and the notes and the hints and the clues and the farm setup, the fireworks. I feel like that was all him. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you can complain all you want, but I'm
still a good ass movie.
It's still a good ass movie.
Still a good ass movie. What a refreshing take on horror. You know, because especially like a
horror or
like a creature feature suspense thriller.
I think it's more of a thriller.
And I wish it was gorier. I love gore. Just, you know, that's me.
You're nasty, that's why.
I'm so desensitized that like nothing phases me anymore at all. The last time something phased me, I was 5 years old and Alex Murphy got blown away. That was the last time something phased me.
That traumatized me as an adult.
After that, I was like, oh, I'm good. Nothing's gonna come close to that. So, what would you give the movie?
I really like this movie,
Yeah.
and even watching it the second time, it's still hard to put it down. Or, you know, like even look at your phone, watching it at home. I would give this one a 9 out of 10 Baggins.
Yeah, that's cool.
I really like this movie. I think, I can't even say that it wasn't long enough. I just felt like I just wanted more.
Yeah.
At the time. But
John Krasinski did a really good job of painting a very unique end of the world scenario.
Yeah, it's different. It wasn't like anything else.
Yeah.
It wasn't like anything we've heard before. It wasn't a zombie apocalypse. It was very much like if the zombies had come around, but there's this like super smart, super indestructible alien, and it's just, what is its weakness? And so I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more fighting before the movie ended. I think that's my biggest complaint and why I wouldn't give it 10 out of 10. But for what we got, I think it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And I cannot wait to go see it.
Oh man, just in a few minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
I give it a 9 out of 10 Baggins too.
Samesies.
Just because I have a few niggling issues with it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, just little things here and there I'm nitpicking, but that's just me being a nerd. As far as the movie itself, oh man, the movie's fantastic. You know, like I love the creatures. I love, you know, their reaction to what happened to the world. They were not stupid horror characters. Horror characters. You know what I mean? Like usually you watch a movie, you're like Prometheus, the two scientists. That's the biggest example. Like you guys are like space scientists. How can you be so stupid? But here, these are just everyday people, and they really made the best out of the world just to survive a little bit longer with each other. I give it a 9. That's fantastic, man. John Krasinski. That's some scary shit in your imagination, bro. That's good.
Yeah.
I hope the second one's even better.
I love him. I love him and Emily Blunt together.
Mr. Emily Blunt.
Mr. Emily Blunt.
Hey, fellas, like I said last time, if your lady's a badass, you are Mr. Them.
You take their last name proudly.
Right? Don't even mess.
That's awesome. So whoever I end up marrying is going to be Mr. Baggins.
Mr. Baggins, under the hill.
Anyway, with that being said, tell us what you guys think. Did you guys like A Quiet Place? And are you guys excited to go see A Quiet Place 2?
I am.
I am too. And also, this is our first time in a movie theater.
Oh yeah, since the world came to an end in reality.
The world did not come to an end because we're still...
Hey, some people couldn't go 3 weeks without a haircut. And they were like, oh my god, I wish it was zombies. Yeah, zombies, right.
So anyway, before you start offending people, we are headed over there here soon.
Yep.
So, as always...
Be good to yourselves and to those around you. Stay safe, stay healthy, and no matter what, be excellent to each other.
And Wakanda forever.
And ever. You gotta be in shape to watch these movies.